All right, so go ahead and give everyone the disclaimer here and then the heads up. I'm going to be doing a recording of 3 different videos tonight while I'm going to work here. Typically, what I try to do is I try to work on at least maybe 1 or 2 videos on the days when I work. I come home, try to do about 1 video, and then after that, before I go to work, I try to at least get 1 done. And of course, I wasn't able to make a video on Friday. Just had a lot going on, and today this is early, just before Saturday morning here that I'm starting the recording of this, and I have to. I don't get off till 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So by the time I get done with all this, getting to bed's probably going to be 1, 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got to get up in the morning and have to go to a funeral at noon tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for a close friend. So his mom passed away. So out of respect, I'm definitely going to be there, to pay my respects and be there for my friend. So got a lot going on right now. So these videos may be very spread out. I'm going to go ahead and record the gist of it. But just to give you an idea of what's coming, topic of this one, you're going to see it in the title. Bernie Sanders and his endorsement of Cenk Uyger. Okay, so let's just jump right into this. I'm going to make these first 2 videos here real short and sweet. So Bernie comes out, and after Nia Turner and Ro Khanna came out and endorsed Cenk Uyger for his congressional run in California, Bernie Sanders comes out and endorses Cenk as well. Now, Cenk, here's where the spin's going to come in. Okay, when Cenk first announced he was going to run for president, there was huge backlash on it. Okay, or excuse me, run for president, run for Congress. Been talking about all these people running for president here, so So yeah, when Cenk announced he was going to run for Congress, there was a huge backlash on it. The same thing when the Justice Democrats started. People came out in droves, and there's different people who have issues with Cenk for different reasons, but the big thing that the media tries to hit him with are the smears. The smears from apparently things he said years and years and years and years and years and years ago. And so they hit him with it when Justice Democrats started. They hit him with it, when he first announced he was going to run. And Bernie still came out and endorsed him. Okay? Now, since then, Cenk has announced because once Bernie, announced he was endorsing him, the smears picked back up, full stop, full swing. Okay, there was no end in sight to this. They just, cranked up the heat and stepped on the gas once Bernie announced his support. Okay, so that being said, after that, after all the people against Bernie supporting Cenk, after they stepped on the gas, turned up the heat, and started the smears again towards Cenk Uyger. Okay, once that happened, Bernie has come out in less than a week later and retracted his endorsement. Now the defense is going to be, well, Cenk. This came after Cenk said he was no longer taking any endorsements, right? He's not taking any endorsements, and so, okay, that's all well and good, but let's just take a look at what Bernie Sanders' tweet says here. Bernie Sanders' tweet talks about the backlash and how since Cenk was no longer taking endorsements, he now retracts his endorsement. Okie dokie. So yeah, pro-Bernie people are going to come out and say, well, there was big backlash, and Cenk said he wasn't taking any more endorsements, so it didn't really matter, this and that. This is a sign of exactly what I have been complaining about when it comes to Bernie Sanders. Okay? For all the people who have been telling me on social media with a straight face that Tulsi Gabbard falters from her moral compass, basically, more than Bernie Sanders, when I say that I think Tulsi Gabbard would be more firm on the things she advocates for than Bernie. And they, Bernie Sanders don't falter off nothing. They've both done the same things. He's got a better record than she does. Okay, yeah. This is more proof of what I was talking about. Bernie Sanders ran an outsider campaign as an independent on a Democrat ticket in 2016. He got screwed by the DNC. He got screwed by Hillary Clinton. And rather than continuing to have a set between his legs, he allowed Hillary Clinton and the DNC to neuter his ass, and he endorsed Hillary Clinton. Now I know all those pro-Bernie folks are going to come back at me again here, and well, so did Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard voted for Hillary Clinton too. Tulsi Gabbard also is a member of the Democratic Party, people. Bernie Sanders claims he's an independent. Bernie Sanders claims he is what I am, an independent. And I can tell you right now, I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not even running for office. And I would not vote for Hillary Clinton just because another independent told me to. Jesse Ventura, who I have watched for years, could have been on that stage instead of Bernie Sanders. And I love Jesse, okay? He could have been the one endorsing Hillary Clinton, which, by the way, he would never do, okay? He won't go for a Democrat or a Republican. He's dead set against them, okay? He's dead set against them both. But it could have been him doing that stuff on that stage, telling me to vote for Hillary Clinton after they screwed him. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to vote for someone who's sitting there deliberately rigging the system. Okay? Bernie tried to stump votes for this woman. And again, there lies the difference between Bernie and Tulsi back in 2015. They may have both voted for Hillary. They may have both come out and publicly said they were going to vote for Hillary. But only one hit the campaign trail trying to stump votes for Hillary. And that was the guy that Hillary and the DNC screwed over. And now, fast forward to this, someone who has been very pro-Bernie for a very long time, has been preaching the gospel of Bernie Sanders at the top of his lungs on the TYT network, decides he wants to run for Congress, gets the endorsement of Ro Khanna, part of Bernie Sanders' camp, gets the endorsement of Nina Turner, and then gets the endorsement of Bernie Sanders, and he does what with it? He then says he's going to stop the endorsements because he doesn't want to harm these candidates. And so what does Bernie do? Once Bernie starts getting bombarded from all these people who are critical of Cenk, he retracts his endorsement. Wow. Okay, so we can look at this one of two ways here. Option one, if you're saying that I'm wrong on what I've basically been saying over the course of this video, because option number one here is that Bernie Sanders has become the hack many people think he is. Now, I know you're going to hear that language and you're going to say, oh, how dare you call Bernie Sanders a hack? That's what you call a hack. That's what you call someone who runs on one thing, talks a big game, and then does another when they get elected. Okay? That's a hack, people. That's somebody that's wishy-washy. You can't trust what they say because they're going to change with whichever direction the wind's blowing. Now, do I think that everything Bernie Sanders is talking about he's going to default on? Do I think he would completely abandon every single one of them? No. But Bernie Sanders has clearly become more comfortable, for whatever reason, with the DNC. They're screwing the daylights out of him and other progressive candidates. They're screwing them to no end. They don't want that message being pushed, and yet he is climbing deeper and deeper into bed with these people. And I don't understand why. I really don't. I certainly would not be doing what Bernie Sanders is doing. It makes no sense to me. So either he's doing exactly what I'm afraid he's doing, and he's starting to become more of a political play ball by the DNC rules type of guy. And because he gets a little bit of pushback, even though this is a man who has clearly done everything in his power to get Bernie elected. Okay, many Bernie supporters like Cenk Uyger. Okay, Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk, another big Bernie supporter, loves Cenk Uyger. Matter of fact, it was Cenk Uyger and Kyle Kalinske who started the Justice Democrats, trying to get more candidates just like Bernie Sanders to run for some sort of political office. Okay, so they have gone way out of their way to try and help Bernie Sanders and his movement, and yet Bernie Sanders can't even stick by this candidate. So it's either Bernie Sanders is caving to the establishment and trying to play by their rules and has started to become more and more of a hack because he thinks that's the only way he stands a chance of winning, or option two is, and this isn't much better, Bernie Sanders blindly endorsed a candidate without knowing about all that negative stuff that had been getting smeared against Cenk Uyger. Now, if that's true, and even we'll play devil's advocate for all those who, say that people shouldn't be accusing Cenk of this. Cenk is not what they accuse him to be. He's not this, he's not that, he's blah 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 blah. Okay? I don't know Cenk, so I won't make a decision one way or the other. I heard what was said. Weren't very, definitely were pretty offensive comments. But I will also say this. I think we can all, if we're being honest with ourselves, say there are things that have been said in our past most all of us probably regret saying and may look back on as we grow and mature and say, yeah, I should not have said those things. I know I've got a few. So I will, excuse that. He's come out and said that that's not how he thinks now. That's not how he feels now. He's put all that behind him. He's matured as an adult, and I'll take his word for it. I'll accept him at that, okay? So either Bernie didn't know about these things before he come out and endorsed this man, didn't read up on any of the pushback about him, hasn't paid attention to all the negative coverage of Cenk Uyger, in which case, what does that say for Bernie Sanders if you go out and endorse someone without learning just who you're endorsing? Now, it's different for a regular American voter to just come out and endorse someone. But when you are a United States Senator and a lifetime politician, basically, I might add, okay, and you're currently running to try and become the president, and you go out and endorse someone blindly and don't know all these negative things out there that people have been reporting on, you don't pay attention to those facts. But, whichever one is the case, neither one look good for Bernie. Let's just, call it like it is here, people. Either way, it's either making it look like Bernie doesn't even do his homework on who he wants to throw his name out there behind, which could be very detrimental. That's exactly what the mainstream media is going to look for in ways to continue to smear Bernie Sanders. Say, oh, look at this guy. He just throws his name behind anybody just because he's heard of him, and that guy kissed his butt. So he endorsed him without even knowing all this negative stuff, and then he tried to backtrack and put that genie back in a bottle. It's either going to be that, or it's going to be that Bernie Sanders has become what many people, like myself, started to think he was after he bowed down to Hillary Clinton in 2015. And that is someone who is trying to gradually play ball by establishment rules, thinking that the only way to possibly win on some sort of a progressive agenda is to tiptoe around the establishment, kiss some of their ass, just kind of appease the overlords of the Democrat Party and a big part of the mainstream media so that you get some sort of coverage and just kind of keep taking one on the chin and taking multiple ones up your butt on a regular basis, because that's the only way you're going to get anywhere. And if you kind of play along and you tiptoe and, oh, you something come out about you've been a big supporter of mine for a long time, I like you personally, well, guess what? I'm going to throw you under the bus because that's what the mainstream media wants to do, and that's what, the DNC, they don't like you, and there's someone else who's from what I'm gathering, some sort of centrist candidate, hasn't really released any policy. They're running, so I think I'll just retract my support and stay neutral on the matter. So best of luck to you, Cenk. But a man's got to do what a man's got to do. If that's the case, yeah, can't say I told a lot of you people so. There's a reason that I said Bernie Sanders ranks number 3 of the 3 that I would accept as a Democrat nominee. Anybody else other than the 3 I've listed previously were to get that nominee, you won't see me voting for them. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. I will not vote, at all for anyone else that's currently running on the Democrat ticket. There's absolutely no way I will vote for them. Period. Okay? And out of the 3 that I would prefer get that nominee or a nomination, Bernie Sanders ranks a distant 3rd on my list. I like Bernie's message. I do not trust Bernie Sanders anymore, and I have not trusted Bernie Sanders ever since he came out and endorsed Hillary Clinton. And when you start to see things like this, as I just laid out, it's either one of 2 reasons he did this. One, he didn't really research Cenk and only thought he knew things about him before he threw his support behind him. That will bite him in the ass. Or 2, the very thing that I've thought about him ever since he endorsed Hillary Clinton is he will throw his beliefs aside and he will throw people underneath the bus, all because he's trying to play rule by the establishment's rules, trying to play ball by their rules, just because he thinks that's the only way he can possibly get anything on his agenda done. Neither one are good. Neither one look like a strong leader. That looks like someone, to me, if that's the case, that's a cuck.